Hi everyone, my name's Ludi Hinrichs. I'm a pianist, trombonist, vocalist, composer, and I live in Nevada County. I've been playing music all my life and been playing piano for quite a while, enjoying this marvelous instrument. And today's video is an introduction to piano basics and the sounds and some of the techniques that we can cover in a short period of time. I'd like to start out with a little demonstration of some of the piano techniques. There's a quick little demonstration for you there of a little bit of the piano sounds. This is a Yamaha Grand. It's called a Studio Grand. And before anything else in this little short discussion about piano, I want to give thanks to BJ Jordan and the supporters of the Sierra County Arts Council. I really appreciate your efforts in keeping the arts alive in Sierra County very much. So needed in these times we live in. So I thought we'd do a little introduction to piano today. What is this piano? What's it all about? Where did it come from? Why is it still so popular? And this particular design of piano is still popular after about 300 years. Well, one of the reasons I think piano's popular because it's an orchestra that you can play with your 10 fingers. So you can create the sounds of an orchestra in your environment, your home, with the skills that you gather over the years. It's also a visual instrument. You can see music theory on a piano. You can see how things are put together on a piano. So let's just take a look at right off the bat. I want to talk about just a few things here in regard to piano. Number one, if you see if you can get a real piano, an acoustic piano. Because when you play a note on an acoustic piano, you're feeling the vibrations in the fingertips and they're registering in the brain. You don't get that with an electric keyboard. Having said that, I know some people just can't have a real piano. I understand that. Eventually, see if you can find one. Okay, so posture. Yes, posture. Nice, relaxed, but upright posture. The small of the back has a curvature. You feel good when you sit in this posture. Notice how far away I am from the keys. My chest is about 2 feet or an arm's length from this thing, which is called the fall board. So I can easily reach. I can reach to the extremes like this. You can't see this in the video, but my feet are spread about 2 feet apart as well, giving me a tripod. It's very stable position when I have to reach or if I've got to reach those two directions, these legs are supporting me. Okay? Hands. This is really basic, but I want to cover this. Here's the position. Wrist goes straight into hand. And this is basically 90 degrees. Fingers lift up like little pistons. Thumb goes like this, back and forth. It's a lateral. The thumb is a sideways finger, right? So you'll see how that comes into being. So let's watch the hands. Pretend they're doing a moon landing. And here we are. Nice open space underneath the palm. Boom. Okay, now you look at this keyboard and you go, what the heck? Let me move the stand. When you look at a piano keyboard, you might say, oh, this is just an enormous amount of keys. Where do we start? Well, really, you can play from this note to this note. So this is the bottom note. Oh, this is the top of the piano. This is the bottom, right? Top is this way, bottom, and here's the middle. If you play the bottom note of the two blacks, that's a good place to start. And the whole piano can be reduced down to just 12 keys because everything else is a repeat. So from that note, there's only 12 different notes till I get to the next note of the same name and the same sound, except it's just higher, right? Everything else is a duplication. Cool. So you might say, well, I'd like to play a song right off the bat. I'd like to play a song. There's a lot of them you can do just with the black notes. I use the black notes to introduce the rest of the white notes on the piano because it's simple that way. So we go for this same bottom black note of the two group. Here's the two group of blacks. There's the bottom note. Maybe I could make a song just using the black notes. Of course you can. You could do that. You can do that right off the bat. Okay, let's look at that for a minute. That's five, right? 5 notes. It's called the pentatonic scale. Pentatonic scale's been on this planet for thousands of years. Even before pianos were even thought of. People were making music doing that. That's why that sounds so familiar and good to us. A lot of songs come out of this. You could start by playing hot cross buns just by using the 3 group and starting with the top note, right? Bingo. Just using 3 notes. There's all 5 notes. So now you can just play. What's really cool about this is that you can play any black note with any of the other black notes and they all sound good. You don't get any real, that didn't sound very nice kind of thing. That's called dissonance. You didn't get any dissonance. So. I played any black note that came to mind, that came to my ear with the right hand playing a kind of a melody. That's what's beautiful about the piano. You can make sound instantly with it. So, if we're to explore these notes, this piano as an instrument, we start in the middle. I generally like to start in the middle. So let's go back to this pair of 2 black notes. And just play those 2 blacks. Now we're going to find the home note, home bass. If you take those 2 black notes, you play the bottom of those, which is called C sharp, then just fall off to the next white note down. You're now on middle C. Middle C is home bass. For learning piano, middle C is. Let's look at that again. Just kind of fall off to the very next white note. You can do that all up and down the keyboard. I like to do this with students. The very top note is also C. It sounds kind of like an insect. Yeah, so now we've landed on C. Now this piano uses the letter names for the white notes are the same as the first 7 letters in our alphabet. So if you can say the first 7 letters of the alphabet, C is the 3rd, right? B would be down from there because B is before C. A is here. Now you've landed at A off of C. So if you play, just for now, if you put your pointer finger on that A and you walk up 8 notes, one at a time, reciting the alphabet as you go, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we come to the next octave. An octave means 8. We're back at A. A and the next sound up, the next octave up. And next pitch is A. So let's look at that. Or if you're just starting out, play with your pointer finger. That's the basic stuff of piano. What are these black keys named? If these are the letter names of the whites, what are the blacks? Those are called the flats and sharps. Just think of them as the notes in between the whites. for now. The notes in between the whites. So here's C. There's two black notes. That's something to experiment with. What's the relationship to the blacks and whites? Well, what's the deal with the black and white notes? If you're in the key of C and you want to just do everything in the key of C, that's this key. That's fine. You can do a lot. You can play notes in clusters of notes called chords. You can do quite a bit. You can play the Pachelbel canon in C. Cool. So a piano really only needs white keys. Except, let's say you're a singer and you have to be in between that C key and another key. Well, maybe you can't sing it in your song in C. It doesn't work for whatever reason for your voice. You say to the piano player, I need to sing that in a lower key. Just a little tiny bit lower. Well, then I might have to use black notes. So instead of C as my home, I'm going to go down here to B. Oh, whole different thing. Watch this. There's that white note, B, and all these black notes. Well, that is why we have blacks and white notes together, because to keep the same relationship as we had in C to all of its chords and sounds, if we do that in B, then we have to use these other in-between notes, the ones I call the sharps and flats. So we're doing an introduction here to the keyboard itself of the instrument. I haven't talked about the pedals and I haven't talked about other things. I'm just holding it to this for right now. I hope some of this is making sense to you, because we're dealing with, it's a fairly simple thing if it's all white keys, but it's complex once we're going to add the black notes to that. So what we do is we just do our scale we stay all in the whites for now. Watch my hand for a minute as I play this. That's middle C. Remember, just down from this, from the lowest of the two blacks. Watch my hand, please. 5 fingers on each hand, right? 8 notes. So we go like this when we play the C scale. 1, 2, 3 finger. Then bring that trusty sideways thumb under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bingo. We're now playing a C scale. Okay, with piano, you also have the fact that in the left hand does not have a thumb over here. It's got the pinky. It would be an interesting hand if there was just a thumb here and same as this, but it's not. It's mirror image. So we reverse that fingering for the left hand. The left hand fingering is going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. 5 fingers followed by 3 fingers. Notice everything is in sequence. Let's keep it simple as we can. So hands are in sequence. Fingering is in sequence. If you want to do a fun game, you can practice your C scale. Both thumbs on C. The right hand going up while the left goes down, but you get to use identical fingering then. Thumb, 2, 3, thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5. The thumb is also called the first finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's see how that looks. Both thumbs are on middle C. There's thumb, 2, 3 fingers. Next notes, thumb again, and walk, up or down. Coming down, just reverse. Got it? Cool, you're on your way. If you can just play this C scale with the 2 hands, you can do so much, because the other scales that we'll play on piano, many of them have the exact same fingering. So with piano playing, you have a couple things, a couple factors here. You have fingering. You have choice of fingering and what makes the most sense, what's common sense. Okay, you have fingering. You have posture. You have position. What you don't have with piano is the sound of the voice. The voice can go do 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 do. Well, the piano can't really do that. Except by practice, you make it as smooth as you can, transferring. And by pressure on those keys. This is why when they sell electronic keyboards, you're always talking about weight-sensitive keys, because the piano is it's one of the most expressive designs of a musical instrument. The capabilities of going from whisper to a roar, as you know, where they're there. So you have that incredible dynamic range on a piano. That's another thing to work with. This is just an introduction, and I'm doing this introduction, by the way, with random connecting points throughout, but it may make some sense to you if you're a piano player already, or if you're beginning or thinking about playing piano. Some of these things may be of value to you. So, orientation on piano, on the keyboard, really starts with the blacks. Like we said, to find middle C, right? So let's think about that. You want to find the white key, the letter names. You want to find out what each of these white keys name is, so that you can play and read music eventually, maybe. It's an easy way to do all of that. I do it by reference. So we slid off the bottom of the 2 blacks, gave a C. Now what if I slide off the bottom of the 3 black group like this? Here's the 3 black group, right? Slide off. That's F. C, F. Cool. Then there's this note between these 2 black notes. This white note I call D in the doghouse because it's kind of like the doghouse. So now we know C, F, and D in the doghouse. Okay, let's find a few more. What if we go to the top note of the 2 blacks, this one, and we slide up to the very next note, we get E. So now we can do C, F, D in the doghouse, and slide up to E. That's 4 of 7 notes. This is getting simpler. It's getting to be, okay, so let's find a few others. If I slide from that same bottom note of the 3 blacks up hill, I've found G. Now, the reason I do it this way is because you can just, with your fingers, feel it and play it before you even have to think. So here's that bottom note of the 3 blacks, and I'm just going to slide up. My brain now says, oh, that's G. Right, that's G. Take the middle black note of the 3 blacks, slide up, and I'm on A. So, C, F, D in the doghouse, slide up to G, and slide up to A. Cool, we're getting there. Then, the last of the 7 white notes is B. Let's just go to find B. Let's go up to the top of the 3 blacks and slide up. B, C, F, D in a doghouse, G, A, B, back home to C. Wow. I'm not going to go into reading music at this point. That's a whole other topic. But I believe these practices will help you to be a music reader after a while. Another thing about piano that really helps, I believe, is using the piano as just simply an instrument to tune your voice, because it's a steady resource for the same note. You want to have your piano tuned, that's obvious. Having an in-tune piano really helps everything. So once you know these notes, you can go to the piano and play a C, then sing the note, low. It's going to always give you that resource, no matter what instrument you play. Or maybe if you just know the 7 white notes of the piano, it'll help you play a lot of songs on your guitar or flute or any other instrument, etc. If you're interested in more of the piano layout, I can cover that on another lesson, but I think that's plenty for now. And I just want to spend a little time on some of the other functions. One of them is the 3 keys below that your feet are going to use. So you have 3 pedals on a piano like this. You have 2 pedals on an upright piano. This is called a grand, and that's an upright over there. The difference is the grand piano has more sophisticated mechanism, and more capable of expression. On a grand piano and on an upright piano, you have two outer keys. Well, just two keys on most uprights. You push down the far left key on a grand. You can actually see the whole keyboard shift. You see it? That's shifting the little hammers that strike the strings. It's shifting them over to just one string per note, because usually there's an average of 3 strings before each note on a piano. So this actually physically gives you only one string sounding. Here's what it sounds like without it. And now here's with that soft pedal. You can see how it really reduced down the sound quality. So that's really nice for very soft passages. Here's the same thing without it. So you can hear that quite a bit louder without it. Okay, so when we go to the far right pedal, that sustains the sound. See, my hands are off. So that's sustaining those sounds. It runs everything together. That's why you play in usually one sound or one chord before you switch to the next chord. You let that pedal up. If I don't do that, I get this. So that's just almost too much sound, too much dissonance. Now the middle pedal is fantastic. You know what it does? You can play a chord or any sound you want with the left hand and it will ring, but the right hand will not ring through. It's called sostenuto pedal. Watch this. First I play the chord. Now, this hand will not hold the notes out. That is a cool feature. So that's the sostenuto pedal. The other thing about a piano that always fascinates me is looking at, in a grand piano like this, or if you ever get a chance, you just open up the mechanism a little bit, open the lid, and look inside. Kids love to do this. Kids love to see what the heck is going on. Look at that, I'm pushing the sustain pedal and all these are called the dampers. These guys at the top. See, that stopped it. That's the third pedal. That's a far right pedal. Now watch this little thing. You can just see the keys all wiggling. That's another cool thing. Look at this. Look how those hammers come up from the bottom. Notice that this is called the damper here. What the damper is doing, it's immediately dropping right down to stop the note. But if you hold the key down, as long as you hold that key, that damper does not stop the note. As soon as I let the key up, and you have this, basically, the construction of a piano is so fascinating. Do you know that it's basically a harp? You know, kind of like when you see a harpist play, they got this tall, beautiful, tall instrument. Well, this is obviously the same shape inside the piano here. And instead of the fingers, which of the fingers can play, some piano players actually get up. If I put this suspended pedal, it's kind of cool, isn't it? You can play chords this way. So that's all done, of course, with this. You know, I think with piano playing, I would just say this about, make it really simple. Go to a piano and you forget about everything I just said in this whole video. Get very quiet and experiment with the sounds. Listen to the combinations of sounds you make. Keep your ears wide open. Play sounds, just play sounds. Find out what the relationships are between these. You know what's a really fun thing to do is to go to the piano store. There's one in San Rafael I like to go to because he has pianos from the tiniest size all the way up to 9'4" concert grands. What a thing that is. So I would just say, if you have an interest in piano, follow it out. It's a wonderful thing to do. I believe in these times we live in, because it's a solo instrument. You can play it by yourself. It's nice to play with other musicians, but it's a beautiful experience to discover. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank the Sierra County Arts Council for their support. I want to thank Mr. Radu Sava for his video work, and wish you all a pleasant, wonderful keyboard experience. Bye-bye.